Perfect. Go ahead, Tia.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to be here on this lovely Saturday afternoon. I'm Tia Johnson, and throughout this call, I encourage you to keep an open mind about the possibility of joining this wonderful community of women in this 90-day sprint, which starts tomorrow. And it will help you to change your financial situation. Drum roll. Which leads me to our speaker today, Chelsea. She's been with our company for 4 years and has been a top income earner under 25 for the past 4 years straight. So I just want you to, again, keep an open mind. Think about this community. I've been knowing Chelsea for a little while now, and she's supportive and she's funny, and I'm so glad to call her my friend. So yeah, just listen up, take notes if you want to, and of course the chat is open, so you can definitely post there. All right, Chelsea.
Thank you. I'm like trying to pull up my shirt. I'm like, I am wearing a shirt right now, but if you get the wrong view, it might just look like I'm naked, but not that kind of a Zoom call. So I am super excited to be on the line today. And if you have been following the series for the past week, we've had some incredible speakers every single day. Just come on here and share their personal story with network marketing and Isagenix specifically, which is the company that we're partnered with. So if you are a guest on the line today and you are here to just take a look at what this financial opportunity is, maybe you have no idea what you were invited into. Maybe you're just like, I have no idea. I'm going to be here to share my story, my journey of what this has done for me financially. And then if you have more questions to figure that out, you can go back to the person that invited you. So goodness, my story with Isagenix starts when I was 18 years old, which is crazy. But I was introduced to this company through my parents, and my mom, who had been struggling with her health for a long time. Just make sure everyone's muted as you guys come in, because someone's making some noise. Thank you. She had been struggling with her health for a really long time. And she had tried, I mean, goodness, I feel like I watched her try every single diet out there. And she struggled with autoimmune, and she struggled with her weight because of her autoimmune issues, but mostly just energy. And so I was away at college, and when I came home for summer break, it was like I had a brand new mom, and it was really weird. Like she went from a person that was on the couch all the time, exhausted, watching TV, to bouncing around and bubbly and jumping on planes and flying all over. And I was like, what is going on? But as a typical daughter or friend, I didn't want what she had. So I went and tried to do everything else a different way because I wasn't good at listening. She was like, you should try it, Chelsea. It's amazing. And I was like, no, I wanted to personally lose my freshman 15 from college. And I was like, I'm going to do paleo. And then I was like, I'm going to count macros. And then I was like, I'm going to blah, 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 all the fad diets that are out there. And what I learned is that I'm really lazy, and I really needed a simple solution that all of the guesswork was taken out of it for me. So I started using the Isagenix product line. I saw tremendous results just like my mom, and was honestly just a product user for the following 3 years after that. And I tell people all the time, it's not about when you get into Isagenix, it's when Isagenix gets into you. That's when it truly matters, because I loved the product line. I continued to use the products all throughout college. Everyone knew they could come to my dorm room to grab an e-shot or to grab a shake. But when it came to the financial aspect, I was at the #1 school in the world for entrepreneurship. I always knew I wanted to own my own business. Both my parents are serial entrepreneurs before they got involved with network marketing at all. And, my mom had owned a skincare line, and my dad had owned an insurance company. And I just knew that I wanted to be a business owner. I wanted to own my days every single day. And I, to be completely honest, was a super, super bad employee. Like, anyone on the call can relate to just not being a good employee. Like, that doesn't mean that you're not good at doing a job, but being an employee, did not thrive in an environment where I was told what my pay would be every single day. I did not thrive in an environment where if I did more or less didn't really matter. It didn't change anything. I didn't thrive in an environment where I didn't feel like I was being pushed. So I had an internship in New York City, and it was in fashion. It was in a, Fortune 500 company. And I went there and I was just bored. out of my mind. Like Monday through Friday sucked. Like I felt like my skills were being highly underutilized. I felt like they wouldn't let me work overtime. So I wanted to like hustle and I wanted to do my job and like really get it done, but they didn't want to pay me overtime. So they were forcing me home. And it just led to this really unfun life for that summer. And I was 21 years old living in New York City and I was dreading every single day. And so going into my senior year of college, I knew that I had some decisions to make. I was like, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? And everyone that I was going into my senior year with, they were like, last year of fun, like, oh no, the real world is coming, like that's gonna suck. And I just was thinking to myself, like, I'm 21 years old. How can the mindset be that this is the peak, that this is all there is, and after that it's just gonna suck Monday through Friday for the rest of our lives until we retire? Like I just couldn't wrap my mind around that. And I was just trying to figure out what it was going to be. If it was, I didn't want to do corporate America, but I wasn't at a position at 21 with no financial backing, no real experience in the real world, and no real idea to start a business. Like I couldn't just go out and start a business. Typically you need those three things. You need the finances to start a business. You need the experience. You need a mentor that's going to maybe guide you through it. Like I didn't have any of those things. So really I was just getting shoved down the route of getting a job for a couple of years until I figured out what business I wanted to start. And that was when I decided to take a look at what my parents had been doing with Isagenix, because at that point now my parents had been involved with the company for 3 years and my mom had earned over $1 million, which is insane and a massive number. And that's not everybody's dream that comes into Isagenix. But during that whole time, guys, I wasn't even taking a look at it. Like my mom was literally she was a stay-at-home mom for 20 years after she, gave up her career as an entrepreneur. And she was able to bring in more money that completely changed our family's financial blueprint. And my dad was able to sell his company and they became a full-time family. And my brother, who's much younger than me, they got to raise him for his last 4 years of high school full-time in the household together. And I was just kind of like, that's just like that their thing. And I always was intrigued by it and interested on it, but I didn't think that there was something for young people there. I thought you had to be like a mom of, high school kids, and I didn't get it. And so I went out to our local event and I was out there and I saw this just vision of all these 20-somethings and 30-somethings who were living a life of complete freedom. And they were casting this vision for me of in your early 20s, late 20s, early 30s, being able to choose a career path that would completely set you free financially and set you free in your time. Because I think a lot of people, especially a lot of people that I've talked to, it's really understanding the difference between financial success and financial freedom. Because chasing a high dollar amount isn't really what we're here to talk to you about. Like, hey, chasing a high dollar amount, that's amazing. But at what cost does that high dollar amount come at? Because for most people, that high dollar amount comes at weekends with their family, vacation time, chasing after their dreams, brunch on Sundays. Like there's a lot of cost with that high paying salary. And I had friends who graduated from college and they were making right out of the gate 75, 85, 90K, which is insane. But our college was, known for that. And they were miserable. They were working 100-hour weeks. And I'm not even exaggerating. They were working 70-hour weeks. They were killing themselves for a company that barely knew they existed. But it felt good and it felt validating to them that they had this income check, but they couldn't even spend that money. And then they were losing years of their life that are so important. I mean, your 20s are such a fun time of your life. Yet we spend so much of that time behind a desk working for somebody else's freedom. And so, but we're taught that that's normal. We're taught to put in our dues. And so I was looking at my life and I was thinking to myself, I go, all right, I know I'm a hard worker. I know that whatever I do, I'm going to work hard towards it. And I know that I'm going to start at the bottom of wherever I start. That's just how you start a career. And so what I have to really pick and what I have to choose is, do the people who've made it to the top of where I'm going to start, do they have the life I want, not the income that I want? And I looked at the different options that I could take, even becoming a traditional entrepreneur. And I looked at them, and, you know, people in traditional businesses who, you know, were working a 9 to 5, even at 40 and 50, you know, they were working their butts off so that they could take a 3-week sabbatical, so that they could have 3 weeks of the year that they could travel to Italy with their family. You know, I remember sitting in my boss's office and him telling me that he couldn't move his child into college. I'm like, he's 50 years old and you can't get the time off to move your kid into college? I was like, if I'm going to start at the bottom here, like, it should be towards a goal or towards a dream that actually lights me up and excites me, that that's the life that I want. Then I looked at traditional business owners who ultimately were becoming slaves of their businesses. You know, I watched, you know, my dad worked his butt off getting his company, which was an insurance company, off the ground. But at the end of the day, his income didn't come in unless he showed up, because it was a traditional business. He had employees, but if one of them called in sick, like, guess who was doing the job? And so, yes, I got taught so much about work ethic through him creating this own business and making something for yourself. But I also didn't have my dad on weekends that he had to go to a conference, or when on nights that he had to go show up to sell his, you know, his insurance product. And so I was like, all right, well, I don't want to become a slave to my own business either. And then I went out and saw this opportunity, and it was network marketing. And it was this opportunity to build a business that gave me leverage in my life, that gave me freedom in my life, because I was able to partner with a company that had all of the systems in place, that had literally the ability to allow me to work less hours while making more money, that had the ability to understand the different types of income streams and how I could attack the right income stream instead of chasing the wrong income stream. Because a lot of us are chasing financial success in a linear way, meaning that we have a really high paying salary. And that salary is, I show up, I get paid. But what if you were chasing money in a way that it was not about your hours spent, but it was about the asset that you were producing? And so I started learning all of these things, and I looked at the people at the top in this company, and I said, that's the life I want. These were people who were able to never have to say the word no if they didn't want to. They were people that were able to experience life to the extremes. They were in their 20s, able to travel the world and do all these things. So I got really lit up by this and this vision. And so I got to work. And when I was in my senior year of college, I started building my business extremely part-time. I was still going to school full-time, and I still had a babysitting gig. But by the second semester, I was making like $300 a week. And that was pretty cool, like $150 to $300 a week. Like, I got drinking money. Like, I tell people this all the time. Like, this was like, I got to get rid of my babysitting job, which was 10 hours a week that I was giving up. That was sacred to me. This was time with my friends that I didn't know when I would see them again once we graduated. Every one of my friends moved to a different state. And I got to get rid of those 10 hours a week that I had to usually be babysitting. And I was making that money now residually, meaning on Monday, it got dropped into my bank account, whether or not I had worked the week before. And we'll explain how that works, because I know that sounds really sketchy. I know it does. But we're going to explain how that works in other calls. And I just wanted to share with you this vision in my story. Like, I was pumped about my drinking money. Like, I got to go out with my friends. I could go shopping for, you know, senior ball. Like, I didn't have to ask my parents for money when I was closing out the year. I didn't have to say no to spring vacation. You know, like, I got to go on spring break and with all my friends. That was exciting to me. And then when I graduated from college, I decided that I was going to go all in. And for me, I wanted this to be full-time. And for some of you on this call, you might not be looking for this as a full-time gig. You might just be looking for that extra $300 a week that could really impact your life, which is incredible. That's totally incredible and capable of doing. I mean, I did it while I was a senior in college, very, very part-time. But I wanted to create a full-time life with this. And so I graduated and I moved home, and I lived in my parents' basement, and I worked my butt off. And this is not a get rich quick scheme. It really isn't. You're going to learn skills here. That is why the 90-day game plan is put together, so that you can have women who have gone before you and have created success before you, teach you the skills and what you need in order to have success in this industry. I had to master those skills. I got so intent on personal development. I mean, if I wasn't building my business, I was reading a book, I was going to a seminar, I was flying around the world. All my extra money was going into investing in myself. And so I started to become a woman that other women wanted to follow. I started to become a woman that other women wanted to be around because I was investing in myself and upping my game, because one of the things we say in this industry is that your income will only grow as much as you do. And so I got so intent on personal development. And by the end of my first year out of college, I was making a full-time income that I could move into downtown Boston. I was living just right outside Boston, which is not cheap. I was able to I didn't have to have a second job. I was able to dictate my life every single day, meaning I decided when I woke up, not an alarm clock, meaning I decided when I went to the gym, not when I had time when I wasn't at work, meaning I decided when I saw my friends. And it was just such this absolute freedom that I didn't have to worry about somebody taking away these years of my life. And my biggest dream for me was traveling. And I had this passion for seeing the world. And I wanted to do it now. Like one of my biggest mentors always said, she's like, I don't want to be on a yacht when I'm 65. Like, I want to be on a yacht in my 20s and in my 30s when I look hot. Not that I'm not going to look hot at 65 because we have isogenesis. But I totally related to that. And so by the end of my second year, my income had grown and become so sustainable that I didn't have to worry about working that year and my income coming in. And I really want that to hit home for you. At 24 years old, if I had decided to completely quit and not work, I would have still gotten paid a full-time income because of the work I had put in for the previous 3 years. First year being extremely part-time, and then 2 full-time years of me building this. Now, a lot of people get to that point with 3 part-time times because they don't have an option, because they have the apartment and the full-time job that they need to sustain for right now. I was in a lucrative position. I didn't have any expenses. I was 22. I was graduating college, and my parents let me move in with them. But a lot of people build that income part-time the entire experience. So at the age of 24 years old, I ended up letting go of my lease. I ended up moving to San Diego for 2 months and then meeting another awesome girl on this call, Cameron, and we moved to Bali together, and I lived there for 5 months with her and her boyfriend. It was incredible. I was able to travel to Australia twice. I was able to travel to Hawaii that year. I was able to go and be on a yacht in Croatia. So I experienced my dream. I got to go and spend a full week sailing around Croatia. I got to spend that entire summer at my parents' beach house, never asking if I had to go to work or not. And I share all of this with you guys, not because I want to pat myself on the back or say, look at how incredible my life is, but just share with you the possibility of what can happen when, 1, you're open to something different. 2, you're willing to put the time and energy in to not only work, but to learn the skill sets, to develop yourself, to become the person that can earn that type of income. Because at this point in our lives, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I wasn't the woman that could do that. It's just as simple as that. I could not have earned this income that I do now 5 years ago because I wasn't prepared for it. It was all of the hours that I put in building my business and building myself that got me there. And so that it is possible. And guys, what's crazy about that is that my income grew that year. Now, I was still working while I was traveling because the beautiful thing about what we do is it's from a laptop or from a phone. But I was able to grow my income while just completely experiencing the world. And now I've settled down in Philadelphia, and I have absolutely loved being here, and I build my business and completely dictate my day every single day. And I'm in love with it. And now I'm just really passionate about gifting this forward and gifting this to other women who want more financial freedom in their life, whether it's $500, a month, or $500 a week, or $5,000 a month, or $5,000 a week. Doesn't matter to us. It's just what we're looking for is people who are willing to be the difference in their own life, that are willing to make a difference in their own life and change their future by putting the work in. So if you're thinking on this call, this all sounds way too good to be true. If you're someone thinking, I know it sounds way too good to be true, but what if it is true? And I know that I'm a hustler and I work hard and I know that I have so much potential deep down inside me. And if I had somebody who could look me in the eyes every single day and tell me, we believe in you, and give me the path to run on, that I think I could be successful, then you're the type of person that we're looking for, because we can partner with you and bring out the best in you and help you create success for yourself. So all of the details of what this business actually is, please get back to the person that invited you onto this call, and they'll tell you that this was really just here to share my story and the vision of what Isagenix is for so many people. And thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. That was so amazing. So yeah, we just had a few comments in here. People just being really attentive and saying how they relate, and yes, and personal development is #1 contributor. So awesome. Thank you. Yeah. So yes, aspiring, freedom business. Yes. So again, just as Chelsea was saying, if you have any questions, please get back to the person who invited you to this call. A big takeaway definitely is community. I know when people get started, they think, I don't know how I can do this. I have a lot on my plate. Don't think of it as I, think of it as we, all right, because we are a team. So again, thank you for joining this call on this Saturday afternoon. And I look forward to connecting with everyone here and hopefully seeing a 90-day sprint.